Hi, good evening. We're glad you're here for this presentation about upcoming improvements to Long Branch-Garland Neighborhood Park. My name is Christy Kabadi, and I'm the project manager for this renovation and a landscape architect in the Park Development Division at Montgomery Parks. Our presentation will be in both English and Spanish tonight. If you'd like to listen in Spanish, please click the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen. The presentation will be recorded and will be available for future viewing at the same link you used to join and at our project website listed here. During this meeting, you will not be able to speak or share your screen, but we hope you will participate by asking questions and putting comments into the Q&A box. Feel free to type your questions throughout the meeting. We will answer them after the presentation. The chat function will not be available, so please put all questions into the Q&A. The purpose of this meeting is for us to learn what's most important to you. We're interested in your feedback and hope that after this meeting, you will go to the open town hall from our project website to fill out a short survey where you can voice your ideas about Long Branch-Garland Park improvements. You can always reach out to me or visit the website for more information about the progress of the project as well. Tonight, I'll introduce the park in project context, review Montgomery County planning recommendations related to the project, and present existing conditions, design priorities, park program, and initial concept ideas for this park renovation. At the end, we'll have the opportunity to answer questions and have a discussion through the Q&A box. The foremost purpose of this project is to renovate both the Domer Avenue Bridge and Long Branch-Garland Playground. Montgomery Parks received $550,000 in funding for this project through State of Maryland bond bills, sponsored by your District 20 delegation. While renovations for the playground and bridge are our primary focus, we intend to undertake renovations for other areas of the park as well. The construction budget for the project is approximately $1 million. Long Branch-Garland Neighborhood Park is a narrow 3.8-acre park in the Long Branch area of Silver Spring. In an ongoing effort to promote equity and make sure all citizens of Montgomery County are benefiting from our parkland, we are focusing on parks in the Long Branch area and working on improvements to benefit local citizens. The Long Branch sector, as defined by the Long Branch Sector Plan, is shown inside the blue dashed line. The Long Branch Stream Valley runs through the middle of this area in a north-south direction right here. Long Branch-Garland Neighborhood Park is number 1 on this plan. And here you can see its relationship to nearby parks and neighborhood landmarks within roughly a 10-minute walk. The park is central to the sector, Long Branch Stream Valley, and some important community connections. Zooming in a little more, we can see the key neighborhood connections impacted by the park and bridge. The purple line will be a transforming factor in the area with 2 new stations and the above ground track running through the center of Long Branch along Piney Branch Road and University Boulevard. The new stations are this one here and over here on University Boulevard. And here's the line of the purple line running along Piney Branch Road and University Boulevard. The Domer Avenue Bridge is one of a handful of pedestrian crossings across the Long Branch stream. And this is it here with the star. It has particular significance because the Long Branch Trail crosses this bridge and provides connection to the Long Branch Community Center, Long Branch Parks to the north, in this location up here, and Seek Lane Neighborhood Park to the east. One of the most important functions of the bridge is the connection it provides between the community and the Rolling Terrace Elementary School. Many children and their families cross this bridge daily on their way to and from school. As a result, the park and its playground become an important community gathering area. In addition, the bridge will provide a connection for many Purple Line commuters once the rail route is established. The Long Branch Sector Plan, published by Montgomery Parks in 2013, recommends specific planning strategies for the area. The Sector Plan recommends enhancing safety and function of the Long Branch Stream Valley by widening the Domer Avenue Bridge and improving pedestrian and bicycle connections. Specific recommendations for the Long Branch-Garland Park include modifying the basketball court to include court soccer, adding multi-generation play elements, and adding public art. Additional recommendations that are dependent on other agencies include narrowing Garland Avenue and creating a shared youth path along the park. This aerial photograph shows the existing conditions at the park. As you can see, the stream valley vegetation is dense next to the park amenities, which are the picnic area, basketball court, and playground. For our park improvements, we plan to focus on the section of the park from the current picnic area to Domer Avenue. Domer Avenue is at the south end of the park and ends at the stream valley and the pedestrian bridge across it. The street here is wide but short with no outlet, and parking is not permitted on either side. The Long Branch Trail from Carroll Avenue crosses the bridge here to connect with Piney Branch Road to the north. That's in this direction. Construction is currently underway to upgrade the trail from this location south to Carroll Avenue, and that's in this direction. Photos of the bridge show its narrow width and the connection to the trail on the park side of the stream. From the middle of the bridge, views up and down the stream valley provide a unique connection to urban nature. There is a significant change in elevation across the playground. The top part of the playground is 10 feet higher than the low point of the park just outside the playground. This provides challenges for access and connectivity within the playground. While the previous design solution was a great way to work across these elevation changes, the walls and equipment in the playground are aging and need replacement. North of the playground, the park opens into an unprogrammed lawn with a basketball court and an informal picnic area with grills. It is our intention to improve these existing amenities as part of the renovation project. I've already talked about project priorities, but now I'd like to get more specific about our ideas for park improvements. Please keep in mind as we go through the next set of slides that these are preliminary design ideas about potential park improvements. This is where hearing from you is very important to us, so please do express your ideas and questions in the Q&A tonight or through our open town hall survey, or both. Your ideas will help shape the design as it evolves. One major idea is to expand the park across Domer Avenue if possible. This would give us the opportunity to increase green space and add features to the park, including a larger playground and new trailhead area near the bridge to serve the Long Branch Trail. A new upgraded bridge will cross the Long Branch Stream Valley and will work together with the expanded park space and trailhead. This bridge will be up to 13 feet wide and could provide an opportunity for public art. It will also allow for better views into the Stream Valley and across Domer Avenue. With the new bridge and trailhead, another main focus for the park renovation is to upgrade the playground. We will replace the aging structures with new playground equipment that may include climbers, balancing activities, swings, and more for kids of all ages. Please visit the Open Town Hall survey to tell us what kind of equipment you would like to see in the new playground. Existing park elements such as the basketball court and picnic area will be improved and new amenities may be added. As I mentioned at the beginning of this section, we are in early stages of park programming and design. This plan is intended to show an idea for what could be possible in the park. The existing alignment of Domer Avenue is the dashed red line here. And this is the existing bridge crossing the Stream Valley. You can see how the park could stretch across the street with a lawn area and bicycle and pedestrian pathway that connects with the new bridge, existing Long Branch Trail, and a new trailhead area next to the Stream Valley. So bicycle pedestrian route connects with the trailhead, the new bridge, and a trailhead area. A new expanded playground is shown in orange and could accommodate both tot and big kid play areas and caregiver seating. Moving left on the plan, the group of existing trees at the top of the playground will remain. That's these trees right here. They're very large maples, very beautiful and shady. An accessible pathway from the lower level at the bridge will connect the trailhead, playground, and new picnic area with the existing sidewalk along Garland Avenue. So that's this pathway here that comes up along the Stream Valley and connects in with Garland Avenue, making a fully accessible route from the upper road down to the bridge. The picnic area could have grills and a pavilion and spills out onto a small lawn area where park users could gather to play games or picnic in the grass. An enlarged basketball court shown here in purple could serve a dual purpose as both basketball court and soccer court, in addition to other court sports. A large lawn for sport play or unprogrammed activity is shown to the left of the court. This area could also serve as an adult and teen fitness area or additional amenity. The next few slides show ideas about how the amenities and spaces in the park could be used. The open lawn areas could be for event gatherings, exercise, free play, picnicking, resting, or other activities. The trailhead area provides a clear and safe intersection for the bridge, trail, and bicycle and pedestrian route. It also provides an entry to the park from the bridge and trail. It would be an area that could accommodate seating, bicycle amenities like repair stations and bike racks, and directional signage. As recommended in our planning documentation, the sport court could be multi-purpose to allow park users to take advantage of the facility for basketball and soccer, as well as other court play. The lawn field adjacent to the sport court is intended as an informal field for pickup play and unprogrammed games. Alternatively, there could be an adult and teen fitness area like the one pictured here. The playground will be completely reimagined with new play equipment for children of multiple ages. The surface will be engineered wood fiber like the current surface. So what's next? We will gather and review your input through Open Town Hall for the next 6 weeks, and with that information, we'll begin to work to advance the design. We are very early in the process, and it's difficult to predict how timelines might change as the project unfolds, but our detailed design process and permitting will begin immediately. The goal is to complete construction of the park in 2023. Now we'll have some time to answer your questions about the Long Branch-Garland project. I'm joined tonight by my project team members, Tricia McManus, Design Section Chief in the Park Development Division, Brian Lewandowski, Project Engineer and Project Manager for the Domer Avenue Bridge Replacement, and Richard Carmen, Park Manager. We will be responding to questions and comments in the Q&A box, so please continue to write your questions there and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can before we wrap up. Now I'll hand the presentation over to Tricia, who will be moderating the discussion. Thanks, Tricia.
Okay, thanks, Christy. Hi, I'm Tricia McManus, our Design Section Manager, and as Christy mentioned, we do have other team members available to help answer your questions. And I only see a few in the submitted so far, so I'd like to make sure we have a good conversation about these. But please continue to put questions in, and we'll address everything that we get. So I'd like to start. There's a big picture question about shrinking Garland Avenue, and Christy, that was the question is, would that enhance pedestrian safety and access in some way? And guessing that it would be a collaboration with Montgomery County Department of Transportation, which yes, it definitely would be. And I think that's something we're not really addressing with this project because it is it's a larger issue. And I think the intent ultimately in the plan for bicycle access, there was the intent, and Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, the intent to ultimately put a bike lane on Garland Avenue, and the idea would be to narrow the road and gain some space for the park. But that really is part of a larger initiative. Christy, could you discuss a little bit more about what the master plan recommended?
Sure. Yeah, that was part of the sector plan recommendations. And as you likely know, Garland Avenue is a very wide street. So one of the ideas in the sector plan was to actually reduce, at least in the area of the park, the width of Garland Avenue. But as Tricia said, that's a bigger initiative that would require significant coordination with other agencies. And in fact, it could be something that we do in conjunction with other agencies. So that's not going to be part of this immediate project.
And just to add to that, I mean, we are going to have to do we are going to be coordinating with Montgomery County DOT with the idea of closing Domer Avenue, and our intent, or we'd like to reclaim that space for the park. So that, we may have some initial conversations about Garland Avenue, in that discussion, but we are already going to be coordinating with them to talk about what we would like to do on Domer Avenue. So there's also some questions about whether the picnic area would have a covering or a shelter. And I think, that's definitely a possibility. I think we're looking at, Christy, you're looking at options of potentially both. So do you want to just, and we'd like to hear what people would like, and so that we, provide the kind of spaces people would use most. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah. So in this park in the past, we've had some feedback that people enjoy picnicking here. And so we thought it could be interesting to add a covered pavilion where people could have shade and shelter to picnic. But as Tricia said, we'll be seeking feedback about that and whether that's a desirable thing to have in the park. And so please go to Open Town Hall and let us know if that's something you'd like to see in the park. I think there's a direct question about it, but we also have some kind of text questions where you can write in and let us know what your thoughts are. But that will evolve during the design process, kind of based on feedback and programmatic demand.
Okay, there's questions about that. I'm hoping maybe Richard, our park manager, can help address about will we be adding additional like recycling and trash bins, that there's none out there now. And also, I think there's a good idea here about having bilingual signage, and the idea about a tree safe garden at the end of Domer, which is also a possibility, in terms of looking at how we use Domer Avenue. It doesn't have to be the community lawn. It can be some other types of seating spaces or trees or other things. So Richard, could you start and talk a little bit about the recycling, and then Christy, if you want to jump in on any of the other issues.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. Yeah, no, we're going to be looking at everything once this park is developed and really see what the needs are. If we need to add trash cans or recycling, we'll certainly entertain that as well. I like the input about the tree garden. We'll look at all those things. These are all possibilities at the moment. But I would imagine trash and recycling will be part of it. How many will be determined once this plan is developed and we can really get a full grasp of what's going on here, how much activity is here, to know exactly how much we will need. But absolutely, we will entertain that.
Okay, and there's a couple of comments. There's one about, whether there would be outdoor gym equipment, and then a comment about how are we accommodating teens and young adults, and what percentage of the space is intended to them, and how would we make that space welcoming. So do you have some thoughts on, we'd certainly like to hear what activities people would like to include for teens, but Christy, did you have some ideas about that?
Yeah, thanks. It's a great question because, there aren't great spaces, and right now a lot for teens to hang out and be together outdoors. And so that's something in parks that we think about a lot and are hoping to incorporate in this park. So as Tricia said, please do tell us what kinds of activities might be great for you and or your teen. Some of the things that have come to our attention as being interesting to teenagers are climbing structures where they can actually climb to a higher elevation and hang out at the top and chat and look out over the park. Exercise equipment or parkour is always something that we think about for teens. That's kind of a step up from playground equipment, but is fun exercise equipment. So please do let us know if you have ideas, and we'd love to think about them.
Okay, thanks, Christy. There's a few comments that I'm seeing about the bridges that I'm hoping, Brian, you might be able to address. the first question is, would we be able to keep the Domer Avenue Bridge open and accessible during construction, before the new bridge is complete? So that's sort of a construction staging question. And then there is another comment about other renovations that are planned closer to Carroll Avenue about moving bridges. I think we do have some other bridge replacement projects further down on the Long Branch Trail. Brian,
Sure.
would you be able to address that?
Yeah, hi, my name is Brian Lewandowski. I'm the engineer with the Park Development Division. Currently, construction is going on Long Branch Trail that actually replaced one of the bridges at Hayden and Houston Avenue. In the future, there will be 3 other bridges that will be replaced along the Long Branch Trail, and one will be at Prospect Street, one will be at Claiborne Avenue, and one will replace the existing bridge that's on Long Branch Parkway, right as it exists now. It'll be in a little bit different location. I believe it'll be a little bit more, I guess, towards the west. But those 3 projects are in design right now, and construction probably won't happen until winter of 22, maybe spring of 23. Right now, we're concentrating on the bridge at Domer Avenue with this project. And then we have started to survey and conceptually design the other 3 bridges on the Long Branch Parkway. The other question was access for the new bridge, 13-foot wide bridge that we're building. When we construct bridges and we replace them, yes, we do keep pedestrian access available and open to the most extent practical. Our plan here would be to use the existing bridge at Domer Avenue, the 4-foot wide bridge, as long as we possibly can. Obviously, we have abutments to build and trailheads to build. So logistically, we will keep it open as long as possible. Once those abutments go in, we're also going to be pretty close at that point to probably setting the bridge. So when we transfer over to using the bridge, it probably won't be a long gap. I would say, maybe 2-3 weeks at the most. But during that time, we would have detours available and signage, proper signage of where to go. Claiborne Avenue is not too far down the road, and that could be a possible bypass. And also, if the Purple Line construction is over, that could be a possibility as well. But I'm not sure how long that'll take. But definitely Claiborne Avenue would be a good alternate.
Okay, thanks, Brian. There's another question about sort of the sector plan recommendations, Christy. There was talk about the loop trail on the other side of Long Branch, and if you could explain where that, what that recommendation was getting at and where that was supposed to go.
Right. So that recommendation was actually to have a trail across Domer Avenue Bridge, and I hope that you can see my mouse moving here. Coming along the existing trail all the way to Piney Branch Road, down Piney Branch Road and back down Garland Avenue as a loop, kind of like this, all around the park, kind of a perimeter trail is how I interpreted it for the park. And so in this project, we'll be kind of setting up the framework for that on this side of Garland. But of course, as you know, on Piney Branch Road, there's so much construction going on for the Purple Line that will be ongoing. So we'll have to kind of wait until that's done to complete the trail around the walking path, that loop trail. And it may be part also of that, the Garland Avenue narrowing that we talked about earlier that was also part of the sector plan recommendation. But both of those things will be a little bit further in the future. And hopefully we'll set up the framework well so it can happen seamlessly when it does happen.
Okay, thanks. There's questions about the playground equipment, and would we include playground equipment for the differently abled?
Yes, yeah, we would. That would be definitely part of this plan, is to make the playground accessible, ADA accessible, and to have some equipment for differently abled children and teens.
Okay, thanks. There's a few questions or a few comments here that, covered picnic areas would be great. And a couple, mentioning that they like covered pavilions with tables underneath them and that create nice spaces to eat lunch. So, and there are no sheltered areas in the Long Branch parks right now. So, so I guess from the cheer, they're looking for places for community events, so that's great to hear. And that's something we could definitely accommodate. So that's good feedback. And also comment that, unprogrammed space is needed throughout the park system, and the AstroTurf where Veterans Plaza currently was very popular. So that's a good comment. And some thoughts here about a pollinator garden as an idea, with some of the plantings. And, we didn't talk about stormwater management, and it's not shown on the plans. We're working out what that might be. I know Christy and Brian are talking about that, but that may be a way to accommodate pollinator plants and things into the plan. If you have any thoughts to add about that, Christy, or yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea and certainly a possibility. And I noticed there's a couple of comments about pollinator gardens in the park, and we'll definitely think about that. Thanks for those comments.
Okay, and there's a question about if there's a vision to make the trail extend to the other side of Piney Branch near the rec center and the new Purple Line station on Arliss near the Giant. And I think that is part of the long-term recommendations, but I don't know, Brian or Christy, if I believe the crossing of the Long Branch Trail is at that at the traffic light, right? And is it intended to stay there with the Purple Line? I don't actually know the answer to that question up front, and if our team doesn't know it, it's something we could find the answer to and make sure we put it in our meeting notes.
Yeah, the purple line is being constructed there right now, so I'm sure they've thought about the crossing, and that'll be part of their design. So and I know there's a station over there, so I'm sure that's addressed in that project, but we will definitely get back to you on that one.
Yeah, we'll follow up with that for sure. And there's a comment, have we observed how the space is currently used? And, asking us not to take away the aspects of the park that are working well. So, you in the community know this park better than we do. And I think Richard probably has Richard and Carl, our other park manager, Carl Hiralal, is also on the call with us, are very familiar with the park and how it functions. But, we want to hear from you if there are aspects of the park that you think are, important and critical that we don't change. We would like to hear that feedback from you. So I don't know if any of our team has anything to add to that, but I would just ask Lisa to make sure to let us know what you're thinking of. That's really important that we keep. And then there's a comment about trash in the that I think hopefully Richard or Carl can comment on. There's a lot of trash in the stream by the bridge, much more so than other Long Branch bridges. So is there a plan to address that?
Yeah, so what we like to do is we work with several volunteer groups who help us throughout, not just in this area, but throughout our region. So what we like to do is identify where the trash problem areas are and hand those over to our volunteers to help us out, because they can get in the park more often than we can. We're there a good amount, but they can be there much more often than we can, and they are a reliable source that really help us make sure we maintain the park as best we can. So yeah, absolutely, we will identify the areas and then work with our volunteer groups to try to get those completed as timely and as fast as we can. So it's certainly a priority for us.
Okay, thanks, Richard. And there's a comment here that in Seek Lane, the teens really like the treehouse structures and sitting walls. So those are things we can certainly look at incorporating. I know we'll definitely have walls because we have grade change, but we'll look at ways we can address teens, and I think we need to think more carefully about teens in general in our project planning, that we find nice, good spaces for the teens to use. So that's a great comment and good reminders for us.
Yeah, I saw also somebody had written about teens like slides, swings and pavilions. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Comments here about, again, underscoring comments about the need for sheltered space. And there's been comments that adults and teens, that outdoor fitness courses with stations are sorely lacking. So those would be good ideas, and parkour and those kinds of things. So those are all things we can think about as well, and come up with some ideas. And there's a question about the maximum capacity of a potential picnic shelter. And would this one be reservable or only first come, first serve? And this is a neighborhood park. And so typically the facilities in neighborhood parks are not permitted. They would be first come, first serve, because there isn't parking, and it's not intended to draw people from large areas of the county. So Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of the facilities here, like the court, the sport court, or the lawn, or the shelter, would be permitted. But also the comment about what our maximum capacity would be. And Christy, you might address, I think one thing we could consider is do we put several smaller shelters that might accommodate individual groups but smaller, or should we would a larger shelter be better that can accommodate a larger group? So any thoughts from Christy and Richard on that question?
Sure. Yeah, we've been looking at a couple different configurations for how we might accommodate picnicking in the park. And again, I'm keep plugging the open town hall because we have specific questions about picnicking at the open town hall, and about these exact kinds of questions, like how many people do you like to picnic with, just so that we'll know and we'll understand the best ways to configure the park. And Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, and in terms of would it be permitted for like the pavilion and stuff like that, that's something we would work with our permits office to see if that's something they would entertain or not. We know some parks there are pavilions that we do not rent out, and there's other parks there are. So we would just work closely hand in hand with them just to get a better grasp of that. But at this time, I am unsure if we would or not.
Okay, maybe that's something we can answer in the questions or in the meeting notes as well. We'll check into that and get a more definitive response. But if it's something you would like to be able to permit, it would be nice to hear that in your open town hall survey. So we'd like to hear what people would like to do, and that may, if we have options to do either, we can consider that. So there's questions on when will the construction start? Christy, what do you want to go back over your timeline?
Yeah, sure. So we'll be designing from now pretty much right away, and then we'll be gathering community comments in the next 6 weeks or so. And that process, the design process and permitting process, could take up to a year. just because there are a lot of little pieces and parts here. And then we would be aiming for construction in that would make us 2022, probably around this time of year, late summer, early fall.
Okay, thanks. There's a question here, Richard, about, again, about the trash, but about invasives that are along the fence line. And do we have plans to remove invasives and plant some additional native plants? And it would be great to see less turf and, more of the, again, the comment about pollinator gardens. But Richard, could you address the invasives and how we manage invasives in this area of the park?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question. As we all know, invasives are a big issue in our county, and of all the 100 parks, at least in my region, there are NNI everywhere. And so we try to really identify in different areas, like in this park in particular, what the NNIs are and non-native invasives, and what can we do with mechanical means to get rid of, to get rid of the mowing, weed eating, cutting the vines down at the core, and cutting a window open really to kill the vines. But we also work with our horticulture and forestry division, as well as our natural resources, to really see what we can do on a broader scale, because there's always so much we can do with mechanical means. So we want to make sure we reach out to our other departments to see how they can help us as well. But it's something we are very aware of, and it's something we're just trying to schedule as best we can and do what we can with mechanical means to get it done as best we can, and eliminate the most problematic areas, and then focus slowly on the other areas.
Okay, thanks, Richard. And there's a comment here again about the crossing Piney Branch and walking along University Boulevard to get to the pool and the library is treacherous. And, that there's a limitation that you can walk here from the library easily. And that's for sure, the crossing of Piney Branch to get to the other parts of Long Branch is definitely difficult. And again, we'll follow up on what the long-term plans are for that connection across Piney Branch to the other side, and check into that. I know there are plans, it's been planned, but I don't know the answer to that question, and we'll have to get back with you on that. And then some questions about how will the construction impact the local residents and organizations that use this space now for outdoor events and meetings. And
I can answer that,
okay.
Trish.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Currently, when we do construction of this capacity, we usually close the entire park. But obviously, this bridge is a prime connector between this sector, and across the stream valley. So there will be opportunities to use the existing sidewalks next to the Goodacre apartments to keep the existing bridge open. And we do try to keep the area safe from the construction and the construction equipment and what's going on at the time. So we do usually put up a 10-foot fence around those areas to make sure we keep it safe for everybody. And that's probably what's going to happen here. But there's always opportunities to make adjustments. So we'll keep you informed.
Okay, thanks, Brian. And there's also a question, Christy, if we could explain again the community lawn idea. And I think the intent of that was there are open lawn areas right now in the park that we think that people use. So we were trying to, I think, preserve some open lawn area that's usable just to kick a ball or to gather. But I think that was the intent behind it. And Christy, you can add to that. But if there are other activities that are priorities, we don't have to have a lawn area. We could put more, active other amenities in that area as well. So did you want to add your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll add my thoughts. So one thing about this area, and again, I'm going to show you on the plan here, this whole area, that is currently Domar Avenue is that, we still have some coordination to do with the Department of Transportation. So we're not sure that this is going to be completely possible in the way that we've shown it. But the idea is to have more open space for the community to show that the park is enlarged across Domar Avenue. And the thought behind the community lawn is that it could be a space for people to gather for exercise classes or just community events, or just to sit out on a lawn on a sunny day and read a book. That kind of unprogrammed space where, you could throw a ball or kick a ball. But as Tricia said, we've been exploring other opportunities for what that space could be, including like a shaded seating area or additional picnicking areas. It could be a kind of some kind of teen swinging area. So, it could be lots of different things. But the lawn idea was to have sort of a, for lack of a better word, kind of a passive or unprogrammed recreation area.
Okay, thanks. And there's some additional comments about, activities for teens, like what about a skateboard park? And then, swings and pavilions. So that is something we can definitely think about, but also, keeping in mind, and when you're going on our open town hall survey, try to identify what you think are priorities for this park, and keep in mind too, and I know, the issue about crossing Piney Branch to the other parks, but we are going to be looking at, and this is kind of opening up a broader picture, but, our department really is committed to upgrading the parks in all of the Long Branch area, so Long Branch Local and Long Branch Arliss, as well as renovating New Hampshire estates within the next few years. So, if we think about the activities that go in this park, also in line with what we could develop in some of these other parks, I think, that we might be able to think about in a bigger picture, all the things we'd love to have nearby. They might not all fit in this park, but there are, other activities that maybe we could include in the other parks as we're developing them. So I think about your priorities for this little pocket, but let's hear about all the other things that actually are needed in Long Branch that we could maybe provide in some of the other parks in the area. So I just wanted to mention, we are embarking on, I don't know how many or if any on this call were familiar that we do have a project to renovate Long Branch Wayne Local Park, which we have an approved plan, and we're starting on the final design and construction for that park. That was, a few years ago that we developed the original plan, but we do have our funding now to proceed. So we're starting with work on that park. And then with Long Branch Local, we're trying to kick off a planning effort very soon for Long Branch Local and Long Branch Arliss, and maybe looking at those two parks together since they're connected and they're close. And there will be lots of separate community outreach for when we start on that work. But I just want to sort of get you thinking ahead that we will be doing work in the other parks nearby. So if there are activities that this area really needs and we can't fit them in this park, we may be able to include them in the other parks nearby. So, but we'd love to hear your priorities, when you go on the open town hall, we've put this sport court, which is kind of the combined soccer court and basketball. But if, the preference would be for a skateboard park or for something different, or even for, some other uses on that court, we're happy to consider, what the community thinks would be most needed and most used. So there's questions again about, trash and recycling. And I like this idea too about having creative, attractive, and educational bilingual signage throughout the park, as in terms of, and putting some educational language associated with that. So that's a great idea that we certainly could and should incorporate.
Patricia, if I may,
Okay.
our friends over at Facilities Management, they've been developing this program to speak very much to this about bilingual signage and ways to educate the public in multiple languages and what to do, why is the reasoning we do it. It's something Southern Porks absolutely wants to get involved with, and this might be a great opportunity for us to do this. So we will work with our facilities management team to see if this is possibly an area we can bring some of these signs and try these out, because this is a great idea. We are 100% on board with this.
Oh, thanks so much, Richard. That's great. That's great information. And we also have some concerns about parents who are concerned about the use of the park and drugs and drinking, and making sure the park is safe and clean. And Richard, from an operations standpoint, you might want to address that. But I think as we're developing the plans, at least from a planning standpoint, we always have park police on our project teams, that they're reviewing our plans and reviewing them from a safety standpoint, from what's called crime prevention through environmental design. So they evaluate our plans and make sure there aren't like hidden areas, that areas are observable and seem safe from a security standpoint. But Richard, if you have any additional thoughts on security for the park that you would want to add?
No, I think signage and working with park police to make sure the verbiage is correct as well, so that way they can enforce it when they come upon things. Also, maybe having more numbers of park police in the park as well, so people know who to call and what the number is. I think that's important as well, so people see something, they say something. But doing both those things, and we'll try to work with park police hand in hand too, to share what we've done in other parks and see what we can do here to increase the signage and making sure the presence for park police is definitely known.
Okay, great. And there's a comment here. Would we like to schedule a Zoom meeting with students at Rolling Terrace to seek their input about possible park additions or play equipment that they want? And we'd love to get ideas from the kids about the kind of equipment that they'd like for the park. And Christy, what your thoughts are on that. And we would certainly be coming up maybe with some, we'd love to hear ideas, but we'd also, we're also going to seek additional input on the details of the plan once it's developed. But Christy, any thoughts on how we're...
I think that sounds like a lot of fun to hear what the kids would like to see in the park, and would be really helpful. So yeah, maybe we can continue to communicate about that separately. We could email each other offline. But yeah, and also, the kids can go onto the open town hall if that's something that they can do with their teachers, even in school. I don't know if that's possible, but there's no age limit. So they are welcome to put their thoughts in there. But I understand that at an elementary school, not all of them will be writing long paragraphs about what kind of play equipment they want to see. But I think that would be fun to get some interaction with them.
Okay, great. And another comment about the crossing of Piney Branch and how that's going to work with the purple line. So, and then here a comment noticing that adults use the grills, picnic tables, and play soccer on the grassy field, that the athletic fields tend to be reserved for children's team sports, and adult athletes have few places to go. So we are hearing that, soccer on courts is more popular these days. So, and adults using that as well as kids. So, that's something to think about, but it's good to hear about, how the park is used and have that information to go by.
Yeah, and that was a part of the intention behind this large lawn area, was to have a space it's a small kind of field space, but could be used for informal play or pickup games.
Okay, and here's a comment about there's multiple, families that have cookouts every week in the park, and that renting them out would not be a good idea, and that maybe multiple areas would be preferred. And that would be possible also, because there are grills right now kind of to the left of where that large lawn area is on the plan. Yeah, where Christy is pointing right now. And we can leave additional picnic areas over there, as well as provide a more centralized area. And we can probably provide tables. They may not have grills, but over near the playground, on the other side of the playground near Domer Avenue. I mean, that's a possibility as well. So if that's a really popular activity and people, that's something we hear on the open town hall, that everybody really, there's not enough places for that. We can try to, tuck in more opportunities for cookouts and tables and chairs and those kinds of things. So that's a great comment. And the question is, will we come out to a community event to share this information and ask for feedback? I think if there's an event in the area that's going on that we can tag on to, we would love to, participate, especially since we have, this project, and we will have other projects going on in the area. So, we like to hear feedback in as many ways as we can get it, and whether it's through a meeting like this, or online, or whether it's posting information in the park or the plan, or coming to other planned events. We're happy to, if you have ideas of opportunities that we would participate, we'd love to hear about that. So comment again about everything being under construction, and yes, yeah, that is a sad fact of life right now, and especially with all the work going on in the Purple Line. But while this will be under construction for a while, you'll get a much better park out of it. So we hope it's worth the wait and it's worth the inconvenience. But we're trying to, make sure we provide some great amenities for the community. And here's another comment about suggesting an in-person town hall to facilitate more input. So, we're happy to talk about that and look at opportunities for that. Again, a comment about lawn. Also, can we extend the commenting period? So, Christy, how long did you have that open for? And
the open town hall comment period is open for 6 weeks, so I think it does close at the beginning of November. If that feels restrictive, we could keep it open longer. I think the main thing, though, is that we'd like to hear feedback as soon as possible so that we can keep moving with the design process, because we don't want to hold up the construction of the park, and the permitting does take quite a while. So I don't know if that's something that's important. We can look at keeping it open a little longer. But we may be then, kind of gathering the comments as we go.
Okay, all right, thanks. And thoughts about the community lawn area and locating teen and adult fitness there, where parents could exercise where their younger kids are on the playground. So that could be like exercise stations near playgrounds, which is something that we've done in other parks. And so providing exercise or equipment near the perimeter and keeping the open lawn area. So that's a good idea. And then this comment about can we add or equally weight the comments provided in today's meeting and the open town hall? And yes, we'll have a record of all the comments from this meeting. So we're, as well as, what we get on the open town hall, we are able to download all the comments from Zoom to have a record of them. And we will make sure, in our meeting notes, we'll have the raw record of the comments, as well as some responses to things that we might not have answered completely tonight. So we'll have notes on that as well. But we do want everyone to go on the open town hall. It's a short survey. It's only takes a few minutes. Is that right, Christy? There's just like 10 questions or 15 questions. I don't know.
Right.
They're multiple choice.
Yeah, they're mostly multiple choice. There was some text answers, but it's really helpful for us to get your feedback in that way as well, because there are some very specific questions we ask based on what we've heard is of interest to the community. And if we're off base on that, we'd like to know. But your comments tonight will be equally weighted, of course. We'll be considering all of these comments.
And there's a question here about lighting, especially around the trail and the sport court. And I think that's something we're going to have to talk with our park police about. But typically, our parks are closed at dark, and so we typically don't light facilities. I know there are street lights nearby, so there will be light spilling into this area. We may possibly provide some safety lighting across the bridge, but that's something we would need to coordinate with our park police, because while lighting can add safety at night, it also encourages use at night, and our parks are closed at dark. So I don't know, Richard, if you have anything you'd like to add to that from an operations standpoint.
Yeah, no, I think what you said is spot on. We would work with park police and discuss internally to see what ways that maybe lighting could be used. As you mentioned, the park usually does close at sunset, but we would consider everything and see what ways there, maybe it's a possibility. But yeah, no things off the table at this moment.
Okay, and then some additional comments about interaction with the kids and engaging with the kids during the design. And a comment here about the Friends of Sligo Creek organizing the regular trash pickups in the stream. So with the weed warriors and invasives removal. So yeah, that work does happen through our volunteer services office and through our weed warriors. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And then again, a comment that I think we just addressed about the lighting. And then could we display a large sign for families to see what is being planned ahead of time? And we would be happy to do that. We've done that on other projects where, not everybody goes on a website to look at things. We're happy to put plans of what we're proposing within the park and post that in the park so that people can see and provide different ways to comment on it. So we would be happy to do that as we're moving forward, to have plans and maps of what's being proposed.
And Tricia, further down, there's another comment about having paper versions of the town hall questions to facilitate getting the questions answered. And I believe Lisa is the one who posted that. And Lisa, you can email me directly, and maybe we can talk about other ways to reach out to the community after the meeting.
Okay, thanks. And yeah, again, comments about use after dark. So I think that's something we'll have to consult with our park management and our park police about, the safety issues with the park. And then there's some, okay, Brian, I see you're answering this question about impervious surfaces in the park, and hopefully that we're going to address that and how we would deal with with probably stormwater management and soil compaction. So Brian, do you want to talk about that live? It says you're typing right now.
Sure. Yep. I was typing right there. Yeah, Parks mission is to basically go over and above when it comes to treating impervious surfaces and the environment. We certainly save trees as much as possible. And when there's erosion in the streams, we go back and look to try to restore some stream reaches. But as far as imperviousness, when it goes one site, we definitely make sure that 100% of that is treated. And like I was mentioning, we always try to go the extra mile. So, you know, in some cases we go and we ask DOT if we can put it's an inlet box that has a tree growing out of it. Sometimes we ask them to do that, and sometimes we ask to do that. I mean, a lot of these things are regulatory, so there's always some negotiation that needs to happen, and I can't promise, you know, that what I'm saying is 100% going to happen, but Parks always looks to try to, you know, treat as much as we can and more. You know, that's our goal and that's our mission. So we definitely try to do that.
Okay, thanks, Brian. And I do see a comment about the District 20 delegation and how they got the bond bill funds to get this started. And yes, that has been a tremendous support for this project. Your District 20 delegates and state senator in Maryland got $550,000 for this project through state bond bills over 2 years. And that's a huge amount of funding for bond bills. They're typically not at that level. So we are so grateful for that. Initially, this project was just going to be, you know, a playground renovation. And with the support from the delegates and the state senator here, we are now able to renovate the bridge and the rest of the park as well. So you've got a great group of delegates in District 20, and yeah, we really appreciate the support and the funding for the project that came through from them. So I don't see any other questions, so if there aren't any other things coming, oh, here's one more. Okay, good, from about following up with Brian on some issues. So that's great. So it seems to cover the questions that we've received and the comments that have been posted. So we hope that you know, we will look at other opportunities to get input as we move forward. And you know, for right now, we encourage you to go on our open town hall to complete the survey and to provide your comments there. But if you have any additional questions or comments that you think of later, either, you know, after this meeting or after you've completed the open town hall, or if we didn't address something, you know, to your satisfaction or well enough tonight, you know, please feel free to contact Christy directly. So we'll you know, be working with you as we move forward on the project. And before we close, I'd also like to acknowledge some of our other team members who have been supporting us on the call, including Erin Pant and Melissa Chotner from our Public Affairs Office, as well as Kova Najera and Carlos Arroyo Reynoso, our Spanish language interpreters, as well as Carl Hirlal, who was with our park management team, also supporting us on the call. So thank you to everybody. All of our projects are a team effort and take a group to make things happen. So Christy, do you have any final comments to close the meeting?
Well, just thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your feedback. All these comments were really great tonight, very helpful for us to see. And we will be looking at the town hall, so please do go and fill that out, have your friends fill it out, let people know. And we'll keep you updated. Yeah, we'll look forward to being in touch with you, and feel free to email me if you have ideas or comments, and we'll keep our project website as updated as possible, so that we can continue to be in touch through that avenue as well. So thanks so much. Have a good evening. Appreciate your time.